Hey guys, and welcome back to Spotlight Reviews. On the Spotlight today is Season 3, Episode 11 of The Handmaid's Tale. Let's get into it. I don't know about you guys, but I was really happy with the episode. I felt like it kind of was finally picking up the pace as far as the tempo and the action and the drama. So let's just get into it. Okay, let's talk about Mrs. Law and her little breakdown here. Now, I feel like the residual emotions of the ceremony are really taking effect on her. I mean, it's really weighing her down and she just snaps, at this point. And I feel like she looks at Commander Law as the problem. He is the reason that she had to endure everything that she's had to endure. And the fact that the ceremony even was allowed to happen is his fault. I feel like she feels like she can't fix her circumstances. She can't change anything. So all the anger and emotions that's bottled up in her, she's just taking it out on him, and she's just ready to make him pay for all the hurt and the pain that he's causing her and also other women within Gilead by the world that he helped to create. Also, I didn't feel bad for Commander Law at all. I mean, what did you expect to happen? She's off her medication. She can't get that anymore. She had to go through a ceremony. Everything is kind of crumbling down, and all the promises that he allegedly made her are actually not holding up. I mean, we knew that, Eleanor wasn't going to shoot Commander Law, but, June finally talks her down, and I feel like that was kind of really cliche. Like, of course, June's going to talk somebody off of a ledge again, cue Janine and Serena during the fire. I mean, she's always the person that saves the day, but I kind of feel like it shows that Eleanor really trusts June to make it better. June is saying, I need him in order to make this plan happen. And I feel like Eleanor trusts her to be able to have some good come out of this whole system, hence why she went on that walk before. She wanted to make something good happen out of this miserable existence that she feels like she lives. One thing I noticed about their talk on this couch is that June always does this little high-pitched baby voice when she wants something from somebody, and it's really annoying. I know you guys have noticed this voice that she does, and she used to do it to Fred all the time, but it's like, okay, you were trying to manipulate Fred. Listen, Commander Lawrence knows what's going on. He knows you want to help people escape. Why do you use this type of little baby, innocent manipulation? Like, can you get another truck? I can't stand it. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it's really annoying to me. Just talk to him straight out. We already know what it is, June. It's too late for all of that. You already had a ceremony. Look, let's be real and candid about what you're trying to ask him to do. Also, look at June right here. What does she have on? Like, is that a slip or something? She's like showing skin. Her hair is down. June is not even playing this Handmaid game no more. She's just kind of like, super relaxed. I mean, I wouldn't be relaxed because I would feel like it's becoming more and more strict around there. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. Like, showing, her outfit and her laid back demeanor. Commander Lawrence is starting to transition. I thought he was going to be this character that was strong and this pompous hero that you just love to hate, but he's really not that confident anymore. He's, as not as self-assured as he was before. And I think it's because of the effects that Gilead is having on Eleanor. He's being humbled by Gilead now. Little by little, they're stripping away at his freedom, of sorts. Before he had the luxury of freeing his conscience by letting a handmaid free here or there and coming home to his artwork and his books and all the things that gave him comfort. But now all that stuff is being stripped away, and now you got to do the ceremony and you got to play this game like everybody else is. Now, after all that, I felt like he felt the pressure. And when I seen that he packed up and left, I was like, what? I was really, really shocked about that. Now, from this, shot right here, you can tell that what he did was not premeditated. This was a rash, rush decision because there's just papers everywhere. I mean, he was just picking things off to shred that might be evidence incriminating against him maybe, or just documents that were super classified. You can see the paper shredder right there on the ground. You can see cabinets, file cabinets in the back just ripped out. I mean, this was a rushed, last minute plan that he came up with. And also, I did notice there's that map again, and we can actually see it better now. Now you can see, white, looks like string or marker, pointing to different places. And there's like this blue part at the bottom of the map with blue lines and, all these red little posted stickers. I don't know if, the white, symbolizes, land that they've taken over or places that they need to occupy, or, I just thought that was interesting to show a bigger picture of that map. I noticed that even the sorry note he left, he left it on Gilead stationery because it has like that crest up at the top. It's a small detail, but it goes a long way in showing, how they made this world so apparent and real to the viewer. What do you guys think about Commander Lawrence trying to leave? Do you think that it was selfish of him, not to have a real plan, or even to know the fact that all the checkpoints were way more, secure and strict now, so he couldn't leave? And, did you even think June still should have tried to carry out her plan even after knowing that he wanted to leave? I mean, we're going to get into her plan later, but what did you guys think about that? Do you think that that was smart of him, or do you feel like it was more selfish and not a really good rushed decision? Okay, let's talk about these bossed up Marthas. This was one of my favorite parts of the entire episode. And you know why? Because June always feels like she's in control and she's running things. But these Marthas, they are really in control and they really run the resistance. What I really liked was the fact that they put June in her place. They basically told her, look, we have a plan going on and nothing is done on a whim. We plan things carefully and it takes time. Everything is calculated. The fact that June has this plan to free all these children and she feels like she has the support of a whole bunch of Marthas really doesn't mean anything to these Marthas, because they do everything, intently. I love the part where this Martha right here tells June, hey, you may have a lot of Marthas that agree with you and want to support you in freeing these kids, but really that doesn't make you a hero. What makes you a hero and everything is the actual action behind how you're going to make this plan happen. And I really like the fact that June thinks she has, something because she's like, Commander Lawrence helped, a Handmaid escape before, and they're like, no, we did that. You just jumped on a moving train. That was already a well-oiled machine, and we're just allowing you to come in and, be a part of what was already in place. It was showing June that you just can't make these decisions and inconvenience other plans that are already put in motion. And also I noticed that June was saying that, oh, I have all this other Martha's support. And they were saying, well, those Marthas answered to us. So this lets me know that this is the head council of Marthas right here. These are the women that make the decisions about what's going to happen within the resistance and what maneuvers are actually going to be made. At the end, they're basically saying, we're not going to help you, but we're not going to hinder you. And we're going to allow you to carry out this plan. And before you try to make huge decisions like this and put other Marthas at risk, she needs to be able to consult, people who are in charge of running the resistance instead of just taking it upon herself to do what she thinks is necessary. Since the plan of Commander Law, helping her out and getting a truck to get these 52 kids to escape doesn't work out, since the checkpoints are so, strict now, she decides to go with a plan B of getting these kids on a plane and wants to do this by recruiting Billy to help her. Now, this to me is a bad idea on so many levels. First of all, what are the logistics of this thing? Like, where is the plane going? After it drops off the shipment? Are the pilots on board to get these kids to Canada? Can they be trusted? How are we getting them to the plane? All 52 of them. And do we even trust Billy? We don't even know him at all or his true intentions. June wants to offer Billy all of these, rare paintings that Commander Law has in his home in trade for his, trust that he will help carry out this escape plan to get on this plane. Now, first of all, how do you know that Billy is going to think that the worth of these paintings is enough to help you? Number one. And number two, how do you know somebody else won't come with a better offer at the last minute since Billy, quote unquote, loves money so much? How do you know that won't fall through at the last minute? And then what are you going to do? And number three is, did you ask Commander Law if he's going to give all these paintings up to Billy? No, you probably did not, because you just assumed that he's just going to go along with this plan and give his last little bit, of comfort left up to this Billy person in order to help you get these kids to escape. And also, these Marthas already have a plan with this shipment that's coming in. So they already told you that they can, poison you and then leave your body in the water and make it look like suicide. So I would not be messing with these Marthas and their shipment plan without letting them know what your plan is with that, because now you're interfering with something that they planned for months. And you just came up with this last minute plan B of using their plane, which may compromise, their plan that they have already in place. All right, guys, let's get into this fight with Commander Winslow. Now, June was trying to get out of there, but then he just came out of nowhere. I was surprised to even see him, but I had thought he already left, to go back to DC, but he was there in Jezebel's. And this fight was so serious. I mean, June is preparing her mind to get raped, and she's trying to, get herself mentally detached from what's about to happen. And then all of a sudden she just switches and then she decides to fight. And I am so glad, because I was like, if they show this man raping June, it was just too much. And then she kills him with this pen, and she is relentless with this pen. I mean, have you ever seen a horror movie and they may hit the person that's attacking them and then they fall out and you're like, keep on hitting them, make sure they dead, June was going to make sure that this man was dead. She was not playing. And I was just relieved that she won this fight, especially after the other episode where she has to perform this ceremony with Commander Law. I was kind of disappointed that Commander Winslow died in this episode, because I was really interested to see where he stood in the upcoming episodes, and he was really starting to make establish a role within the show. And there was all these innuendos about DC and maybe him hitting on Fred, and I just wanted to see what that was going to be about, and was there going to be some secret club or secret things that Fred had to do in order to fit in DC, and I was just interested in that story. So to see him die off so fast, it was just kind of like, oh, well, there's the end of that storyline. And then he tries to say, oh, my children. And she's like, well, your children are better off without you because you're a rapist and you're nasty. And then she kills him. And I was very happy about that. But it was also great to see this Martha who helps June and, helps clean up the mess and takes care of her, because June actually picked her out of that pile that Commander Lawrence gave her of the women in the cages that were going to be executed. And it was interesting to see that come full circle. So her doing that good deed actually came back around, and she ended up helping June. All right, so the last thing I'm going to get into is Serena and her whole scheme of getting Fred arrested. Now, when I first saw the episode, I didn't realize that this was all premeditated until the very end. But when I went back and rewatched, I saw how she was acting, and I really realized this was a whole plan, from the beginning. I actually saw her reactions and the way she was acting in the episode. For example, in this shot, she's telling Rita that, they have to take a more personal approach because, the government is not quite cooperating, which to me means her personal approach is basically capturing Fred and releasing him to the Canadian government. And then she puts her head to Rita, saying, thank you for loving Nicole so much, and just giving this really, serious goodbye, like she's never gonna see Rita again. And then when she gets in the car, she just kind of gives this longing look, like she's looking at Rita for the last time. I was surprised to see Fred pull up, driving himself in a car. And also, what kind of building is this? Where are they? And I did notice that it does have the Gilead crest on that right-hand side. There's like a sign. It's very dark, but you can see it. The crest is on that sign. Now, once they're in the car and they're on the road, I noticed that she's, kind of fidgety, and she looks like she's worried about something. And I think she's just thinking about how is this all going to happen and how this all is going to go down. And once Fred, tells her to drive, Fred thinks that they just on this, fun excursion together, and they're going to get Nicole back, and they're just alone and, kind of free. I feel like when she drives, it's sort of like her actually feeling that bit of freedom that she's about to have, because basically she's committing treason, treason and coconuts, and I don't think she's going to be going back to Gilead. Now, the house that they stay over seems like it's some type of bed and breakfast type of thing. It's out in the middle of the country. It's just with some common, family, and maybe they're just staying there because it's a midway point between where they are and where they have to go. But I did notice outside it has some Gilead flags, and there's also some type of sign on the front. So that makes me think that maybe it's some type of business or bed and breakfast. I did notice that when Fred and Serena walk in the house, they're not greeted like the traditional way, like, blessed day or blessed be the fruit or whatever, that's for handmaids. But and that there's a lot more people in the house. It seems to be their actual family and actual kids, biologically, that live with them. And you can see generations of an actual family living here. And the fact that Serena brings up the issue that how could Fred take away the fact that she could write her books and do all of that makes me again realize that Serena signed up for more than what she bargained for. And, she has some serious resentment against Fred for allowing her freedoms basically to be taken away. I also noticed that they sleep separately. There's 2 separate beds. I don't know if this is because that's just the way the beds were already set up, or do they just not sleep with each other in the same bed anymore? It doesn't seem like they did in the past since, in Gilead and their old house that burnt down. And I also noticed, she's kind of staring at Fred, and, she puts her hand out and she's kind of telling him to come over to the other bed. And I don't know if she's basically trying to say her last goodbyes to him, or she's trying to further manipulate him and keep this smoke and mirrors act up of her needing him and, loving him and all this other stuff. What do you guys think? Do you think she was further pulling his leg, or was she kind of feeling guilty and a little bit more sentimental because she felt like this was the end of basically their marriage? Now, we knew that once they started going on this journey following Mr. Tuello and they were driving for a while, we knew that this was going to be a setup. I mean, especially when they ended up in the woods. I'm like, okay, they're about to be bum rushed or, caught off guard by something. Something is about to go down. And Serena, then again, she doesn't say anything. She's kind of like, just do what they say, Fred, and that's when we know, okay, she definitely set him up. This was carefully planned out by her and Mr. Tuello. And I'm just interested to know what's going to happen next. I mean, she can't go back to Gilead because clearly she committed treason. What's going to happen to Fred? Are they going to have enough to detain him? Is he really not going back to Gilead? And now, since Fred is gone and Commander Winslow is gone, what's going to happen with, the hierarchy of commanders and who's going to take over? Who's going to be in charge? Is it going to be, Nick? Is he coming back off the line and is he going to take control? We don't know. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. And is Mr. Tuello going to hold up his end of the bargain? Is she actually going to get Nicole back? And where is she going to live? Like I said, I was very happy about the episode. I'm glad they're picking up the tempo of the storyline, but I do kind of miss other character storylines like Maura and Emily. We haven't visited, their storylines since like episode 4 or 5 or so. So I hope that they go back into those stories and we don't just leave them hanging. So I'm interested to see if they go back into those stories later on. There's only about 2 episodes left, I believe. So I don't know how far they're going to get with that. Alright guys, this is all I have. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more videos. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.